Hey guys, this is Damien with Sauce Boss Gaming, and today we're going to talk about Tales of Arise for the PS5. Now, this video is mainly going to focus on the Tales of Arise demo, which at the recording of this video has dropped, and it is out for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series X. Alright, so for those of you who have never played a Tales game, I would say this is closely related to Final Fantasy in the sense that Tales has been around for a long time. There's a lot of Tales games, lots of spin-offs, things like that. And the other side to it is you don't have to play the previous game to understand what's going on. There was like, off the top of my head, one Tales game, Tales of Xillia, that had a continuation. So there's a Tales of Xillia 1 and a Tales of Xillia 2. And even then, if you played Tales of Xillia 2, they did a good job of filling in the blanks if you didn't play the first game. So it's very accessible to new players if you've never played. And if this is going to be your first one, I think you guys are in for a treat because Tales is its own beast. First off, as far as this demo, you get the choice to pick between one of 6 characters, and everyone's unique in their gameplay. When you get a little bit deeper into combat, just understanding how every player works and crafting your team around that uniqueness will help you a lot, whether it's a boss fight or grinding, things like that. There's just a lot that goes into the combat, and we're going to go ahead and get into that now. I will say that it doesn't really matter who you pick at the start. You are able to switch between all the characters in combat, so you won't miss out on the opportunity to play as a character that you didn't pick during the demo. Just a quick disclaimer for those of you who get worried on the character select screen. Now, originally I wanted to focus on combat and new features in this game, but I wanted to take time to talk about just how beautiful this game is. I will say that in the past, all of the Tales games look really good when it comes to character design, when it comes to the world and all of that. And it seems like they took it to a whole nother level when it comes to Tales of Arise. So I really look forward to seeing the rest of this when we're able to play the full game. Okay, now going into combat for new and old players, I will say that I am not a Tales expert, but I have beaten 2 of the games. And if you think about it, a lot of the Tales games kind of borrow and recycle certain ideas when it comes to combat. And here you'll see boost attacks and boost strikes, which are new to Tales. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But in general, for new and old players, sometimes the button config when it comes to fighting can get a little bit complicated with Tales just because there's a lot of techniques that you're able to use. But I feel like the first major plus when it comes to Tales of Arise is they simplified the combat. So for every character, your normal attack is R1, and your special attacks or your arts are triangle, square, and X. Circle is your jump, and R2 is your dodge mechanic, which I want to say it's not new, but I think this is the first time they have it isolated to a certain button, just like action games. So that's pretty cool. Now, this is a JRPG, and for those of you who've never played a Tales game, the little blue diamonds that you see above the health bar is for your arts, and that's stuff like Rising Wyvern, Swallow Blade, Demon Fang, Triangle, Square, and X, the things I told you about before. You can use as many special moves as you want as long as you have those diamonds. If you run out, you have to wait until it recharges. So it's kind of a mix between like an active system and the waiting systems in some RPGs. Now, the cool thing is you don't really have to use all of your moves until you deplete those diamonds. You could use 2 moves, wait, switch to another character, and get as creative as you want. And to be honest, in most Tales games, they incentivize you for utilizing all of your party members and not just sticking to one person. So that way you can get a lot of damage out and do some crazy combinations. Now, speaking of combos, one of the new features is the boost strike. Now, once you do enough damage with your arts and your physical attacks, this blue meter fills up and you're able to call in one of your other characters and just do this huge cinematic finish. If you're going against a normal enemy, you're going to kill them instantly. If you're going against a boss, you're just going to do a lot of damage. Like I said, this is very cinematic, and it's one of the things that makes a Tales game awesome. And as far as additions, I think this is cool because not only is it another way to utilize your party members and do a lot of damage in certain situations, but it makes it a little bit more accessible to people who aren't used to playing games like this. Because I remember in the other games, there's a technique called Mystic Arts, and that's pretty much the pinnacle of special attacks that you get in a Tales game, and they're a little bit difficult to pull off, but something like this makes it way more accessible for people who have trouble with that kind of stuff. And again, it's just so anime. I mean, look at this obelisk blade. Oh, beautiful. So a good addition. I enjoy it. I want to see more, and I can't wait to see more when I play the full game. Hopefully there's more than 3, but we shall see when the game comes out. So another thing that makes a Tales game is the banter between party members. Now, real quick, we have camping in the demo, which means it's going to be in the game. And it's kind of like Final Fantasy. If you camp and cook, you're able to get other effects to help you out when you're fighting or in the world, whatever. But cooking will help your character. So run around and collect those items. Now, the banter that happens between these people, if you have serious characters that are super funny when it comes to these conversations, you have little situations that get way out of hand, like this right here. One of the main characters was cooking, and everyone, because the cooking was so bad, thought that they were under attack by enemies because he's just going crazy in the kitchen and making all this smoke. So stuff like this makes a Tales game just on another level, because it's funny and not so serious all the time. And there's even moments in the majority of the Tales games that I've played where it's super self-aware. I want to say in one of the other games, they even broke the fourth wall a little bit. So it's stuff like that I look forward to, because it doesn't have to be all brooding and save the world and all this. They have some funny stuff that you could latch onto in between combat and during the story. And it just keeps you coming back because there's always something new. Like, there's a lot of dialogue that they put between characters. The closest thing I could think of is like Octopath Traveler, where you have the little scenes where people are talking to each other. You get a lot of that in a Tales game, and from just the demo, I want to say I saw about 6 of them, and that's only a fraction of the game. So if you think about it, in a full game, you're going to have a bunch of dialogue, a lot of funny scenes, a lot of information about the world. So definitely something to look forward to if you've played a Tales game or if this is your first time. And as a heads up, whenever you want to see these scenes between the characters, at certain points you're going to need to press R1, and you'll know if there's a scene because you'll see a prompt at the bottom right part of the screen. Just a little heads up. Now, shifting gears back to the world and combat, this is a super boss that is standing behind me, and in most Tales games, you have a bunch that just roam around ready to destroy you and your party, but also give you awesome items. In the demo, I found 2. Now, as far as healing and just things that are different. This is for new and old players. In this Tales game, one of the new things that they added was cure points and swimming. I want to highlight the swimming really quick. But cure points are, exactly as the name says, the points that you use to heal your party outside and inside of battle. Now, in other RPGs, you could just, use some magic and you use your magic points or something like that. For this game, you have dedicated cure points that, like I said, go in and out of battle. So what this does is it forces you to be very, very smart about using magic skills or magic arts to heal your party. Now, there are items that you could use, but the thing is, normally in a Tales game, the items that heal are within the environment, or they cost a little bit of extra money to get. So this is a nice little way to balance everything and get you to explore. You can restore these when you stay at an inn or camp. The next thing I want to talk about is customization. Tales games are infamous for allowing you to customize your characters. As you can see, once you change your weapon, there is a visual change on the main character. And I want to say in the majority of them, it transfers over to cutscenes as well. So it just adds an extra layer of ownership because you get to customize your character. In closing, guys, I am really, if you can't tell, really looking forward to playing Tales of Arise. It comes out in September 10th to be exact. And like I said, these games are fun. I haven't played all of them, but I've played enough to know what I'm getting into, and I feel like this is a fresh addition to that legacy, the legacy that is Tales, and I'm really looking forward to play it. I've been burned with a few games here in the past year, thinking I'm going to pre-order them and it's going to be amazing and a game changer and all this other stuff, and it kind of left me a little gun shy. But with this, I really, for starters, I know what a Tales game is like, and I know I've had fun with them in the past, and this one just seems like the next level. And so I highly suggest it for everybody. If you're unsure, play the demo. It's free. You don't have to pre-order anything. Just play the demo when you get a chance, and you will see what I'm talking about. It's very in-depth and worth your time. With that being said, this is Sauce Boss Gaming. Hope you liked the video, and I'll see you next time.